Hi, Jimmy.
Hi,
How are
Zakira. How are
you?
you?
Good.
I'm good. Thank you.
Good. So, thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast.
Happily. You're welcome.
So today is going to be interesting. Well, of course, we met in indirectly in She Podcast Group. I don't even remember how it happened. I just knew that something about it. We probably wanted an opportunity to share about your podcast, and something about it just sparked me. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is aligning with my podcast. Let me see if she's willing.
Well, thank you. Thank you for reaching out. Happy to be here.
So go ahead and tell me more about your practice, because we're going to talk about love. We're going to talk all about it today. But just tell me more about who you are and why we should learn from you.
Okay. All right. So my name is Jummy Olawale. I am a therapist, and I have my own private practice called Focus Counseling Clinic, which is based in Grandview in Ohio.
Ohio.
And, and I have been practicing as a clinician, for about 8 years now. And I work with people that struggle with anxiety, depression, and marital issues. And I also have my own podcast. And yeah, the journey has been pretty awesome. I've learned quite a bit over the years, and I'm excited to share some of that wisdom with you guys.
So two questions for you. One, what's the name of your podcast? And two, exactly how many years has it been?
All right. So my podcast literally started on my birthday. I had been wanting to start a podcast for like 2 years, and I sat on it because I was so afraid to do it. And then I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to just go ahead and do it. And I started actually on the 23rd of March this year. And it's called Life, Love, and Therapy. And that's really what it is. It's really about how to live our lives and to love well from the perspective of a therapist. The goal really of that podcast is to be a holding space for people's experiences. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. So you're sharing in your podcast, and obviously in this episode too, you're sharing approximately how many years of your therapy experience.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot over the years. And, honestly, that's why I wanted to do the podcast, because I wanted to provide a space where people can really know that they're not alone, and we can touch on some of those issues that are bugging people. And I can bring some of that experiences to bear because, lots of people can listen to a podcast. I can only see one client at a time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And so the good thing, I feel like you and many other therapists are more relatable when they have been through what they talk about, right? They grow through what they go through, right? So
Yeah.
what brought you to first, I know that you have your own practice now, but it wasn't always that way. So what brought you through those steps?
So I have always wanted to be a therapist since I was maybe in high school. Prior to that, I was that person that everybody would come to ask me or tell me about whatever problems. Like literally, I will be on the elevator and someone will give me like a quick life story within a few minutes. And and so I have been that person all my life, and going to school to study counseling was just a way to legitimize that, to learn clinical skills so that I can be able to help people better. And so I started actually working in a community-based agency where I saw like lots of kids and their parents, and really working to help the family unit really get better. And prior to that, I used to work for Children's Services, and I saw a lot of situations in homes that I'm like, wow, if they had this resource, or if they had that resource, it'll be so much better. And as a caseworker, I couldn't do that. I couldn't counsel people. So that actually really motivated me to go back to school to get my counseling license and education, and so that I could help those people. So while I was working in a community-based agency, I also was working in private practice, in another person's private practice. I always wanted to have my own, but again, it's interesting how fear gets in the way. Um, I eventually left that place because I got a position to be a clinical director at a different agency, and I was only there for 6 months. That situation just did not work out, and I was like, okay, I have this opportunity right now. I could go and open my own practice. And at the same time, I got another job offer to be a clinical director somewhere else. And I was like, I was like, oh my goodness. It was almost like, I felt like God was trying to tell me, like, I got you. Like, you can be somewhere else. You can be a clinical director and do all of those things. And you can also go on ahead and have your own practice. And my family was very supportive, and they were like, just go and open your own. And I was certain that nobody would show up. But that was in 2015, and we're now in 2019, and I've already moved 3 times to a bigger spot. So my fear was a liar.
Absolutely. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So let's see. So you say family. Now, who's all a part of your immediate family?
Okay, so that will be my husband and our 2 children, but then my parents. My parents don't live in the United States. They live in England. My siblings live in England, and they have been the wind beneath my wings. I don't think I could do anything without them. When I doubt myself, I just put my voice on pause, and I let their voice carry me. And I trust, like, when they tell me, like, Jummy, don't worry. If my husband says to me, like, if I'm worried about something, about making a move on something, I'm telling you, as soon as that guy says to me, don't worry, everything is going to be okay. Fear, pause. And I'm like, yeah, everything's going to be okay. Let's go. He's always been my wing person, has always been someone that supported me, for many, many years. So I trust his judgment on things.
Yeah, so that trust had to definitely be built over the course of how many years? How many years have y'all been married?
Oh my gosh, since 2004. So what are we in now? 2019.
Yeah.
So let's see. We're going into 15 years.
Yes.
15 years of marriage in August.
Wow.
7th of August. Yeah. So we've been at this for quite some time. Yes, we've been at this for quite some time.
Nice. And here I am, coming up on 5 years in July. So nothing to compare, but
listen, 5 years is a lot of time to be spending with someone that you two came from different places and trying to make a home together. So yeah,
literally.
5 years, it's a lot of experience.
Literally. Yeah. My husband is West African. So that was literally 2 different cultures coming into one household. But thank goodness for the base of religion. Thank goodness for the base of God. I think that's what help does, through all the ups and downs.
Yes, absolutely. I'm with you on that one. So I'm also from West Africa. Yeah, West Africa.
Hey.
So I'm from Nigeria. My husband is also from Nigeria. We've been dating since we were like kids. So so even though we are from the same culture, even though we are from the same country, we are also from different family cultures, right? And although we share a lot of values, we share the same faith, it doesn't mean that it's any easier. Those things just give you a good base to start, but the work is a lot more than that base, right? And so becoming, a family has been a journey for both of us.
Absolutely.
An interesting. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment.
So are there any, I guess, classes? Because I know you said you grew up in London, so that means you kind of had a completely different experience, a British experience before an American experience, right?
Yeah.
Your husband.
Yeah, so I moved to UK and my husband moved to the US. I moved to the UK within a year of leaving Nigeria. My husband was in the US. And so I lived there. I went to high school there. I went to college there. And then my husband dragged me to Columbus, Ohio after we got married. And it was a major transition. It was not easy at all. It was hard.
So what helped you the most to make it through that first 2 years? Because I would say I think that's the average of how long it really takes to get a feel for everything.
Yeah. Looking back, there were many times that I fantasized about buying a one-way ticket to go back home because it was just so hard. We started our marriage and it was really tough when we started our marriage because within a week of us getting married, my husband lost his job. And exactly the Saturday after we got married. So after we got married, within a few days after the wedding, he moved back to the United States and I was supposed to be joining him within like 2 weeks. So he went to the office. He was in law school at the time and he was a law clerk at a law firm. And he went there to just say like, okay, I'm back, let me start getting some work done. And then they were like, yeah, hold on a second. We're just going to come and meet you at the office. And then right there and then they fired him. And it was like, what did I do wrong? They're like, no, you didn't do anything wrong. We just don't want you to think that we're going to hang on to you once you complete, law school. So we just want to do it now. And it was like, dude, I just got married a week ago. And they were like, yeah, we understand. That's why we didn't call you on your honeymoon. It was almost like they thought they were doing him a favor. So I'm coming from Nigeria to join this guy in the US. He just lost his job. I don't have the legal paperwork to be able to work. So I can't work and he has no job. So let's just say that was not a great experience for several months. We really struggled because it took 9 months for him to actually be able to get a job and for me to also get a job. And that's why I say that, like, how long you've been married doesn't matter. Within the first 9 months of our lives as a married couple, we grew so much from that experience. It catapulted us so much faster than people who had been married for many, many years because we had to struggle with really hard things so early,
So there's this quote, I've seen it somewhere, about the strongest couples endure the most in their first few years of marriages.
For real?
Something like that.
Listen, I wish I didn't have to endure all that. Like, you can miss me with it. Let's skip it. But but because like you even though you grow from those experiences, like sometimes they also leave a dent in you, right? Like it's you get scarred from those experiences. But those experiences also made us grow in our faith. It made us, have to lean really hard on each other. And so to your first question, earlier about what has helped me in the last 2 years, number one has been my faith. Number two is just the fact that my husband and I are pretty stubborn people. And, like, we like to work hard at things. We really like to work hard at things. And I really believe that, like, when you get married, you just have to try to work out a lot of things. So it didn't mean that I didn't have doubts. It didn't mean that there were days that I didn't question, why did I even get married in the first place? Why can't I just buy a ticket and go home? My parents may or may not, be like cool with that. But what really kept me grounded was just the fact that, like, we're both stubborn people, and my faith. Those were the two things, because at the end of the day, everything was stripped away. I couldn't tell my friends what was going on. My friends didn't even know that, like, we were both jobless. They didn't know that we were struggling. They were like, "Oh, you guys are on your honeymoon." I'm like, and people will come and visit us, and I'll cook for them, but they had no idea what we were going through. And so the two of us had to lean on each other, and at some point figure out that we're both not the problems. The problem was the problem, and we needed to focus on the problem being the problem rather than attacking each other as the problems.
Yes. And you know what? I watch a TV show called Red Table Talk, and
with Jada
Smith. Yep. And she had this episode with he has a very interesting story. His name is Jay Shetty. He used to be a monk, but now he's just an amazing motivational speaker. And I guess the conversation wasn't entirely about marriage. It was technically my first time really seeing his wife. He brought his wife on the show too. And they said something that really just stuck with me about the thing that kind of helped them to, like, really, endure their marriage is attacking problems as a team, not your problem, it's your problem only, right? Just talking about it's our problem to deal with and it's our problem to solve. That was, a shifter for me, because it's so common, especially, like you said, to stubborn, to independent people. That's the mentality of thinking, like, it's my problem, let me deal with it,
Yes, or you're the problem.
That too.
It's even worse when you're like, yeah, you're the problem over here. Rather than, like, no, the problem is your problem. The problem is the problem, and the two of you need to come together to solve the problem. I agree
Absolutely.
with that.
Yes. So, what did you learn the most from your immigration experience?
Well, I've had several immigration experience, right? So I first moved from Nigeria to England, and then from England to the US. So the times that I moved, I was two different people. So I moved from Nigeria to England when I was 15, and I was not happy. I was not happy about that at all, because I left all of my friends behind. I'm in this country where people can't even like understand what I'm saying. My accent is so thick that I had to repeat myself 3-4 times, and I experienced bullying at school, and it was really rough, but I have to say, it also built me. It also built me because it made me experience what it's like to be the person in the margins. It made me experience what it's like to be on the outs. When I was in Nigeria, I had my own friends. I didn't know what it was like to not have friends. I didn't know what it was like to have to start all over. So it made me a very compassionate person. I remember this experience that happened to me when I got my first job. It was at McDonald's in England. I was only 16 years old, and on my first day, I didn't know what time to go on break, and if we were allowed to eat anything, And I kept working and nobody told me. Then the manager was like, "Have you had a break yet?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "How come?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like, nobody
I
told
didn't
me to
know.
go
Yeah.
get a break. And he was like, "Yeah, go take a break." And I didn't pack any food, and I was so hungry. I just sat in the break room. And after my break was over, I came back to join the staff. And then after like a few days, so then I'll pack my food. After a few days, they were like, "What? You can get some food." And I didn't know. I didn't feel like the people that surrounded me at the time when I started working were supportive. I didn't feel like they remembered what it was like to be a new person at a job. So, because you're so nervous. And I really told myself, like, if we ever hire a new person, I'm going to walk them through what I went through. So when we got a new guy, I was like, "Hey, you need to go on break at this time. You get a 15 minutes break at this time. And when you do, you can get a meal, you can get fries, you can get a dessert." And, whenever I see him in the break room, I would tell him, "You can do this, you can do that." And I'm telling you, like, we became really, really good friends. And it's like, he told me, it's like, "I've never met somebody like that before." Because I knew what it was like to be on the out. So one of the things that the immigration moving really taught me was that it's hard. It's hard to move. It's hard to uproot. And it's also hard for people who are not in the majority, who are not the ones getting all the privileges. It also taught me that, even though we're all different colors and different religions and different ethnicity and different whatever, like, you need to meet people where they are as humans. So I have friends from different countries. I have friends from different races, and it's really expanded my view of life. It's not as narrow as like when you don't meet other people. So that's what immigration has really taught me. It's like, as human beings, we're all literally dealing with the same problems. We want our family to be happy, we want to provide for our families, we want to be healthy. Immigrant, non-immigrant, it's the same goal. It's the same goal. So that's what I've learned over the years as an
Absolutely.
immigrant. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. I'm hearing the experiences that I know of, because I mean, I have traveled to other countries. The longest I've traveled, I was in Ghana for 2 months. That was the closest I felt to being an outsider for a second. I mean, I was home, but I was not home. So I know that experience you're thinking of, because I too grew up in a multicultural environment. So it was different as a child, just all of a sudden seeing a new face, and just, I was raised to be a nice person. So my goal is to just make sure that they're comfortable. But the older I get and the more immigration journeys I learn about, because I too had to go through one with my own husband, the more empathetic I am, towards the experiences. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a I feel like I would say more Americans should just understand or even inquire about the immigration journey in itself. I mean, it's not just some new person taking over your
Right,
land,
right,
your
right,
job.
right,
They
right.
too, exactly. They too want, the quote unquote American dream, want a better way of living. Like, that's all it is.
That's all it is. That's literally all it is. And, I encourage people, I implore people to go to cultures where they don't speak their language and get a feel for how powerless that makes you feel, and the insurmountable mountain that you have to climb to be successful in those places. So that when you look at an immigrant, you understand that what you're seeing right there is resilience in action. It's resilience in action. So, yeah, that's been my journey, and that's what I've learned.
Absolutely. I love it. Okay, so we're gonna have a little fun. Name me 3 songs that help you get through the day.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me tell you what I did this morning. okay, so I'm a music person. I sing and all of that stuff, but over the years, I have not been paying a lot of attention to music, and
The lyrics
I
and
really,
everything.
I really haven't. I know a lot of my old songs, but I don't know what is going on out there in the world. I am so detached from it. So I can tell you what I was listening to on my way in. On my iTunes, I have like yoga music playing, or like when you go to a spa place, the kind of music that they play was the music that I was playing coming in. So those kind of music help to relax me, allows my brain and everything that it wants to think about to just calm all the way down. So I would say yay to yoga spa music. And then other types of music that I like to listen to are Nigerian music. Like, I mean, Nigerian music.
Hello.
Yet, yet. And we're always coming up with different types of dance, but I can't even come up with one in my head right now. That's how bad it is. Because I'm so, I don't listen to that much music anymore. Like I used to. So I'm getting old, and I'm simplifying my. I have some Seal. So if you were to look in my iTunes right now, I have some Seal there. I listened to Seal this morning as well, and I also have Prince. And I played that yesterday to my daughter because there's a song that we play to her, and it's "Could You Be the Most Beautiful Girl in the World?" And she loves us playing that song to her. So I'll play it to her and I'll sing to her. So those are the 3 songs I've listened to in the last 2 days. Yesterday was Prince, today spa music, and Seal.
I love it
Yes.
though. I love it. I mean, I call myself a music head. So, I get it. I'm a music head. I will, one day listen to Kenny G. And then other
Yes.
days I will listen to what people call somebody's sad type of R&B music. Like, ain't nothing wrong with that. Them old school 90s R&B. Ain't nobody, doesn't mean
Yeah.
I'm sad. That's
Woo!
not
I love
sad.
90s R&B. Yes, yes. R&B is great.
Yes. So, where else have you traveled to? So we already know that there's Nigeria, there's England, there's Ohio, but where else?
So, all right. So I mean, Florida. We've been to several places in the United States, but I just count United States as one. Doesn't really matter. You're still in the United States. We've been to Canada a few years ago. We went to Canada. We went back again another few years ago. Went there for vacation, Niagara Falls in particular, because we love that place. It's so beautiful and so powerful to just watch nature. And last year we went to the Bahamas. We went on a Disney cruise to the Bahamas. So that was great. That was really, really great. That was our second time going to the Bahamas. Where else did we go in terms of countries? I think those are the 2 places outside of the UK and the US that we've been to. I haven't, oh no, my husband and I went to France. In 2011 when we both went to England. So we both went to France. We went to Calais, France, and we also both went to Ireland. So I've been to Ireland, I've been to Calais, France, the United States, England, Canada, and the Bahamas.
So have you been back to Nigeria with the family yet?
Yes, we were there in 2017 when my sister got married. It was awesome.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so where can we find you online and learn about your services?
You can go to focuscounselingclinic.com, and you can also go to jummyolawale.com. So those are the 2 websites where you can find me. Now, if you want to stalk me, on the other hand, if you want to know what I do on a daily basis-ish, you can find me on Instagram at Jummy Olawale, the therapist. And on Facebook, I have a Facebook page called Jummy Olawale Therapy and Counseling. Those are the 4 different places where I can be found. Oh, no, I'm also on Twitter at Jummy Olawale. Just once you type my name in, they'll all pop up.
Okay, cool. I will stalk you then.
Stalk away.
So then just to give a rundown of your services, do you do remote services? Is it only for people in Ohio?
Yes. Yes and no. Yes, in terms of counseling, because you can't really counsel across state lines except like you are also licensed in those states. I know that some states are working on trying to allow other therapists to practice in their states, maybe through teletherapy, where you're doing counseling on the internet. So when it comes to counseling, I only see people in Ohio in my office that struggle with anxiety, depression, marital issues, transition, grief, and all that good stuff. But I'm also a life coach. So I do life coaching across states. So a lot of my coaching clients are not from Ohio. They're scattered around the country. So if you want a life coach, hit me up if you're not in Ohio, because I do it online. So yeah.
Okay, very cool. I think I will. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor. Thank you. This was fun.
It was definitely fun.